We lost this week, as a community, as Klal Yisrael, a very special man in the passing of Rabbi Zechariah Center, Zichron Livracha, the founder of the Kafkei and longtime Teaneck resident, supporter, community builder, very, very special man who I personally was very friendly with. And it dawned on me that this is an appropriate week in a certain sense to mention Rabbi Center as the Parsha talks about Kashrus. And Kashrus was certainly something that he provided a tremendous service to Klal Yisrael in upgrading the Kashrus in so many different facets. And there's an interesting pasuk when it comes to the Parsha in the latter half that deals with Kashrus. The Torah tells us about the different simanim, the signs for different animals as to what's considered to be a kosher animal, how you know, versus a non-kosher animal. And when it comes to a one specific animal, the Torah tells us, V'esach hazir, when it comes to the pig, it's not kosher. Why? Ki mafris parsahu, v'shosa shesa parsa, v'hu gera lo yigar, tamehu lachem. Because it has split hooves, but it doesn't chew its cud. But it's interesting that you would think that it sounds like, why is it not kosher? Ki mafris parsahu, because it has the positive siman. Isn't it the opposite? Isn't the reason that it's not kosher because it lacks a siman? Because it lacks one of the two. Why would the Torah go out of its way to tell us at the beginning that because it has a positive siman? That doesn't seem to be the reason why it's not kosher. If anything, it would be the latter. And the way that many of the Mefarshim explain, the Kliyakar included, is that the chisaron, the problem with the pig and what the Torah is highlighting, is a character trait. What makes it tameh, and what we should learn from it, is the fact that it only has an external sign. It tries to put forth its feet and show, look, I'm a kosher animal. But inside, it's not. It tries to give off that impression of being what it is not. And that is a particularly negative trait. That midah of externally trying to show off one's tzidkus, one's righteousness, a certain image that everybody should know, wow, I'm an amazing person, look what I do. But deep down, it's not the way it is. And that's not how I act in private. That is a midah ra'ah. That's an inappropriate way. So ki mafris parsahu, there's almost a benefit to at least being consistent. If it wouldn't have any of the simanim, okay, so through and through, it has no trickery. There's nothing about it that's not kosher. But when trying to put on that image, be a charlatan, of trying to be something that you are not, that is a dangerous trait. And that's what the Torah is teaching us when it comes to the pig. It's not just about the pig, it's not just about the chazir, but it's about a midah that we need to be sensitive to. Living our lives in a way that is consistent, that we don't try to give off a different image outside. We try to make sure that we have a positive image outside, but that same positive image inside as well. The Bali Musa used to say that you can tell a person who's really gemilas chesed by how one acts in his home, how one acts with his spouse, with the children, with those closest. Because outside it's easy to put on a show. But the people that you're with each and every day, that's where it's more challenging. That's when the true essence of who a person is what emerges. I was just thinking about this a little bit, because Rabbi Center was just an Adam Gadol, who was just through and through with tzidkus, with all the simanim of Tara, of trying to inculcate this world, the practical world of the Kashrus, with the Torah world, being a Talmud of the Rav, always loving to share a vort, always loving to share a thought and to lend a kind word. And I think that's a lesson that the Torah is teaching us here, and something for us all to walk away with. The idea of trying to make sure that we don't try and trick people to thinking that we're somebody who we're not. Shouldn't the dafka try to be bad, obviously, but to try and make sure that we are consistent, try to make sure that we live up to our own potential, and that we try and involve as many people as possible and bring those people closer by being our inside should be the same. And that's a midah tova. That's the way that a Jew should act. That's the message of the siman of Kashrus, that the siman on the outside of the split hooves, the siman inside, which can't be seen in the chewing of the cud, those are the simanim of the Jews, to be consistent with the leiv tov, with wanting to give through and through. And that is really what the Yemei HaSfira are about also, in working on our Bein Adam L'Chaver, and working on ourselves in order to become the better people and to maximize each of our potentials.